Okay, so I am here with Jen Berlingo, and she is an art sorceress, a counselor, an art psychotherapist, Reiki master, and artist. Um, Also, creator of the Soul Space Oracle deck, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, and yeah, and she runs jenberlingo.com. And I have her here today because I'm just really curious about people who, use their creative talents to make the world a better place, help and heal, and while also kind of creating this like new path for themselves. So I'm just curious a little bit about your journey, Jen. Um, I'm curious first about how you define your work in the world now.
Hmm. Yeah, that's been a big question for me lately too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the elevator speech is like the way you introduced me with, I'm a transpersonal art psychotherapist, I'm a Reiki master, I'm an artist, I'm a mom, I'm lots of things. But it's really been up for me lately. Like, what is truly mine to do in the
Mm-hmm.
world, on this planet, in this lifetime? Like, what is my unique medicine to offer? And I mean, I've known since I was a young child that my work is about combining art and magic and people, like making
Mm-hmm.
art and beauty and honoring that in the world. Making magic and ritual and ceremony out of like everyday ordinariness that we all
Yeah.
exist, and people and humans. Like, I fall madly and deeply in love with, the raw, tender, vulnerable human heart of everyone that I meet. And I just love to gather people together to create authentic conversation and connections and community. Um, so I guess combining all of those in some way and being visible in my own truth, and inviting others, I think that invites others to do the same. So I think like those are kind of overarching feelings about what I'm here to do. But
Mm-hmm.
the way I deliver it is in flux. It's totally changing right now. So my current work in the world is deep listening, really, and like
Mm.
listening to um, what I'm called to do next. Like, what is the channel through which my medicine can be delivered? Because that's in transition currently.
Yeah. Well, I love that just because we all have these titles
Yeah.
that we carry around with us, and they can, a lot of times we can kind of use those as our definitions,
Hmm.
but like definitions of us. But I love that, you went deeper with it, and your purpose and your work here right now is deeper than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Titles can be, um, limiting boxes in some way, which is
Hmm.
kind of why I switched from putting, art therapist to like art sorceress. I feel like it's more all encompassing of like the magic part that,
It is, yeah.
that I just wanted to claim and name.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you tell me a little bit about how you got here? Like, did you always know that magic was? I know that's like a big question, but did you
Yeah.
know that magic was always a part of it, or?
Yeah, I did. My path has been non-linear. It's been pretty meandering. And so, gosh, I guess I could start with my work, in my early 20s. I mean, I was a sales engineer and a global product manager for an internet advertising company in New York City, DoubleClick, which is now Google's ad serving technology.
Mm.
And I was a big computer geek, and I kind of still am. And while it satisfies, the strong J in my INFJ-ness, the INF, or really the NF, was like slowly dying in that atmosphere.
Mm.
So I quit all of that, even though it was kind of like a promising career sort of thing. And I just started taking art classes in New York in 2001. And serendipitously, I started seeing flyers in different places and whisperings everywhere of like art therapy. And what is this? So I started listening and looking, and I eventually applied to master's programs and ended up at Naropa in Boulder, which, yeah, I know we both went to.
Hmm.
And it's, the transpersonal art psychotherapy program there is a 3-year master's program that's experiential and contemplative and unlike any of the others where I interviewed. And I felt right at home right away, mostly because of the ideas, the transpersonal part of the basic goodness and basic sanity and the idea that we're all intrinsically moving toward health and wholeness. I was like, this feels like how I want to serve and how I want to do this sort of work. And then at the same time, while I was in grad school, I more formally started studying Reiki. So energy work and the chakra system had always been part of my consciousness and part of something I'd studied even when I was a child, like healing modalities. And my second year of grad school, I became a Reiki master, and I began to weave like art therapy and energy work together. Yeah, and I wrote my thesis on the chakra system as a holistic diagnostic tool for transpersonal art therapy, which
Yeah.
a mouthful to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was sort of yeah, how I kind of began this work. And when I graduated in 2005, I moved to Virginia. I'm originally from the East Coast, so moved back to be closer to family, and started a private practice under supervision, of course, to get my license. And I started to, weave those things together, working with people using art therapy and doing energy work together in sessions, and I loved it. And then I got pregnant, and I took a 4-year break after my daughter was born, because that's one of my main roles in this life as
Mhm.
mom. And I really wanted to be present in her younger years. And I feel really fortunate and privileged that I was able to, take that time and be with her. But I couldn't stay away too long from like the art world. So during that time, I started a blog called paintcutpaste.com.
Mm.
It's not out there anymore. There's still a Facebook group for it, but or page for it, but there's the actual blog isn't there. But what I did was kind of chronicled all of the art activities and creative activities we did from ages like 2 to 8, and that was a nice way of like sharing and keeping that creative stuff alive, during
Yeah.
early motherhood. Um, yeah, so then I'm kind of telling you like this whole
That's okay. I love hearing about the journey.
yeah, it's such a like a windy one, it feels like. Then we moved back across the country to California during that time. And once my daughter was in preschool, I started working part time toward my licensure in California, which requires a lot of extra hoops in this state.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, I was fortunate though. I ended up working at a transpersonal counseling center at what is now Sophia University in Palo Alto. At the
Mhm.
time, it was Institute of Transpersonal Psychology. And I saw clients there for a period of time and got supervision, and hired an outside art therapy supervisor because I was the only art therapist on staff there. And then eventually got licensed and opened my own private practice here in California, and started seeing clients, mostly working with other therapists and healers, because that's really what lights me up is
Mhm.
helping them, really bring forth their authentic gifts and steep themselves in their own therapist identity and work on self-care practices. And then about a year ago, I intentionally paused my private practice because I was feeling an inner shift happening in the way I wanted to work. And I was at the time also offering an online course, the Soul Space series for therapists, around really sustainable self care practices. And that was really juicy for me. And I was starting to sell my Oracle deck, the Soul Space Oracle, on Etsy, and doing other things. So, and just with some trainings I'd had, I just wanted to pause and listen and see like how it is I want to show up next in my practice, if it is to be in that format. So I'm still in that questioning
Mm.
place, and I'm still, working on courses, and my offerings are growing. I'm doing some new things coming up, but yeah, it's always in flux. It's
Yeah.
always like windy. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's all of our journeys are kind of winding like
Hmm.
that, and they can be tough to navigate. Like, it's tough to know which way to go for a lot of us.
Totally.
Um, can you, I don't know, speak to that a little bit? Just like how you knew what path was right for you, what when you had to shift
Hmm.
those
Um,
various times?
yeah, I mean, back when I switched from my former career to this one, you mean? Like,
Yeah, and then the kind of smaller shifts
yeah,
in there as well.
for me, I think I really have to get quiet with myself and kind of shut out outside influence and let my own intuition be my guiding north star,
Mhm.
and sometimes the choices I make, yeah, may not always look good on paper. I know when I shifted out of, my internet industry job and into, I think I'm going to go to grad school for, transpersonal art therapy. Um, yeah, that was a different sort of mode. It was something different in my family too. Yeah, I had to kind of reprogram and unlearn a lot of my what was defined as work in my family, and
Mhm,
just make it really about vocation or calling, like what that.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, it can be like really risky and lonely and painful, and you can go broke like trying to follow your intuition. And
Yeah.
but I think for me, I had no other choice. I don't know if it's
Mhm,
I mean, I'm like an empathic, sensitive one, and I
mhm.
just like needed to feed myself that way and to, yeah, I think really just having made a contract in this life, when I came in to evolve my soul in a way that was maybe beyond the comfort zone of the family I came into,
Mhm.
and in my own comfort zone in a lot of ways. So I've taken some risks, but I think it's for me just about tuning into my gut,
Yeah.
and trying to trust that, and it's hard, it's not all
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. I think it's such a universal experience, especially in creative helpers,
Hmm.
to kind of bump up against the old messages, either from family or community,
Hmm.
and then to give ourselves permission to do what we're being called to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I came from, a family who valued work as 9 to 5 stability, working under a larger corporation, with
Mhm.
security and benefits and all of that. And yeah, that all sounds great, but it just, that package wasn't working for me. And maybe it would if I had been in the right career. But
Mhm.
it just needed to trust, like to shift and to trust that I would be held
Mm.
some way. And I've been really lucky so far. I mean, it's not been without um, pain and bruises along the way, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's still unfolding.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, what would you tell someone who maybe is in that corporate job,
Mhm.
who wants to make that shift, is feeling pulled, feeling called,
Mm.
and but is afraid? Like, if you
Yes.
had to tell them one thing, what would it be?
Um, when I think about this, I'm picturing. I was just in a workshop a couple weeks ago, and a friend of mine in the workshop has a tattoo on her arm here that says, "Who are you not to be?" And it
Mm.
comes from Marianne Williamson quote, like a longer version of it, which I have because I keep quotes around myself. And it's just part of it. Can I read it?
Yeah, yeah, please do.
Yeah, it's just the beginning of it, but I have, well, actually, I have two quotes here, but anyway, they both probably apply. But our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? And I just love that she has "Who are you not to be" on her arm,
Yeah.
because really, like, yeah, and it kind of goes with the idea of having each of us having a unique thing that we come here to offer in our own
Mhm.
unique flavor and brand of it that is needed in the world. And so
Mhm.
um, yeah, when you're not living that thing that lights you up, the world is deprived of that light. So I feel like it's almost um, a responsibility to ourselves and to the world to really bring that forth and to be seen and heard in it,
Hmm.
um, as tricky as that can be, at times. And yeah, yeah, the other quote I have here actually is the Martha Graham, the one about keeping the channel open. Like it's your job to actually,
Yeah, I love
keep
that one.
it.
Yeah.
I have those on my desk now because they're just really fresh with me from a training I was in recently. Yeah, which I can read if you want me to, but I feel
Yeah.
like those, I mean, it really like keeping the channel open and who are you not to be? That's what I would say to someone. But yeah,
Yeah.
that keeping the channel open comes from this. There's a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and be lost. The world will not have it. It's not your business to determine how good it is, nor how valuable it is, nor how it compares with other expressions. It's your business to keep it yours and keep it yours clearly and directly to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep open and aware directly to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. Yeah.
Mm,
That's both of those things have been yeah, just really sitting as reminders for me right now as I'm
mhm.
trying to shift and listen um, to what I'm called to be doing. So
Yeah.
thanks for letting me share those. But
Yeah, that's
that's what I would,
beautiful.
yeah, say.
Yeah, I will definitely add those quotes to the post as well. I'm gonna write them
Oh,
out.
great. Yeah, they're great. And I think that the Marianne Williamson one goes on. There's a little bit more after it, but I just have
Mm,
that little snippet up here as a personal reminder right now.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your journey, and um, I hope your journey empowers others to
Mhm.
confidently walk theirs. And thank you for being here
Thank you
and for
so much
sharing
for
your
inviting me.
time.
This is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So if people want to know more about you and what you do,
Mhm.
um, is there anywhere they should go or anything they could
Um,
check out?
yeah, I mean, I'm all over the internet. Yeah, my website's my name, jenberlingo.com. And I'm on Instagram more often than any other platform just because I'm a visual person and I like the
Mhm.
visuals. So that's at Jen Berlingo. And I'm on Facebook at Jen Berlingo Therapy and Twitter at Jen Berlingo. I think, yeah, they're all there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I have a newsletter. I just send it out like quarterly. It's not like something I send a ton of, but you can subscribe to that too on my website. And usually I'll send out things that I'm up to, and I have some new offerings coming out. So
Great.
yeah, you may want to do that. I'm going to be yeah just doing some new things soon.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you, Monica. It's so good to talk to you.
I know. Yeah.